Hello everyone, and welcome to another one of our videos. Please take a deep breath, relax, and enjoy. Today, we're gonna talk about why you should never stick your D in crazy.
A girl I hadn't talked to in 4 years started messaging my friends asking why I hadn't responded to her good morning text at 10 in the morning. Met this girl in church group in middle school. We got to know each other because of the group but didn't really become friends or anything. Stopped going when I went to high school and never talked to her for 3 years. She commented on a Facebook status I had and we got to chatting and I agreed to hang out the next weekend. I asked if we should invite other people in our old church group since I hadn't seen any of them in a while and she said no. I thought this was cause she liked me and wanted to hang out with me, so I was flattered. I kept talking to her throughout the day. The next morning I woke up around 10 a.m. to about 8 missed calls, 2 voice messages, and countless text messages from her. I was pretty creeped out by then. The nail in the coffin was one of the messages I got was from an old friend from the church group asking me if I talked to that girl. I was confused how my friend knew I talked to this girl the day before. Turns out the girl started messaging my friends asking when I wake up in the morning and why I hadn't messaged her back. I had a girlfriend who yelled at me for spending $9,000 on my mountain bike instead of on her. I race professional and I took her out to dinner at least 3 times a week and got her gifts all the time. Plus we got to travel the world thanks to sponsors. But the one purchase for myself was too selfish. Girlfriend was practicing her signature, and asked if she could see mine. Innocent enough, right? I rattle off a few beautiful Johnny Hancocks on a napkin, and beyond admiring my own handiwork, don't think of it any further. Fast forward a week, and she says, "Check out my new tattoo." Sure enough, it's my signature, first name only, on her right, or wrong? Hip. Yikes. Fast forward to her solo European trip, turns out she cheated on me with a guy with the same first name. Bet he was scared. An all-consuming obsession with horses. An inability to live her life as it is now, instead being laser-focused on getting a husband and then having children. I'm not talking about normal long-term goals here. I mean a single girl who's always talking about finding her husband and having kids. When the proper next step is finding a boyfriend, the step after that being engagement, then marriage, then having children. Every girl I've known who is like this has also lived rent-free with parents, which tends to limit one's romantic opportunities. Horsewomen are just cat ladies with money. She'll joke about having kids before you're even in a serious relationship. I went on a couple dates with this one girl who had mentioned how much she wanted kids. Nothing unusual, pretty common actually. I'm looking forward to being a dad one day. Then she started sending me those weird things where you put 2 people's pictures together and see what their kids would look like. One time would be quirky. But she sent me a different one every morning for a week. Broke it off when I realized I hadn't even given her a picture of myself. Constantly talking about how people don't get them. I recently started socializing with a woman like this and immediately slotted her into the no relationship category. For a long time, I thought women like this were mysterious, and that if I could come to understand them, our relationship would be deeper and more meaningful. Over time, I learned that women who complain that other people don't get them are just bad at communicating, which makes relationships with them more difficult and failure-prone. Outright refusing to believe that a guy might not be into her advances. I've seen a woman stare in bewilderment at her boyfriend after he had to repeatedly remove her hand from his crotch because she couldn't comprehend that he didn't feel like getting felt up in a public area. I've also had a woman, middle-aged, throw a tantrum because I wouldn't buy her a drink when I, 22 at the time, was at a bar, while I was with my parents and some visiting family members. When she puts a phone in your trunk on top of your spare tire to track you via GPS. I don't use my trunk. She knew that. She hooked it up to the 12-volt charger in my trunk and put a tracking app on the additional line she bought. I only discovered it when I had a blowout and had to use it. When I questioned her about it, she said she had trust issues. But good news. Every time I told her I was somewhere, I was at that place. We broke up after that. The story had a happy ending for me. It was a toxic relationship, but my next relationship was with the woman who became my wife. We will be celebrating our 8th wedding anniversary in a couple of months. I sometimes wish I had been able to help my ex. She had quite a few good qualities, but the suspicion, insecurity, and attempts to control me were too much for me to deal with at the time. It sucks when you see what someone could become, but you know they probably never will. When she starts taking offense to doing anything without her involved. Had one girlfriend who insisted that she'd be with me for any outing. Watching movies with friends, having dinner and drinks with the guys, she always found a way to come along. When I asked why she was so insistent on going everywhere with me, she said she wanted to make sure I wasn't talking to any other girls, and shortly after told me to cut off contact with every girl I regularly talked to, which really just signaled a huge jealousy and security problem. I told her I wasn't going to do that and to be assured that I chose her to be in a relationship with. If I wanted anyone else I would not have signed up to be with her. That didn't stop her though. One day I went out to a barbecue with the guys without her and noticed on the way there and on the way home a car was following me. It was her making sure there weren't any girls I was talking to. I broke it off with her after that. After a few days of her sending a constant bombardment of angry texts she finally left me alone. My ex would freak out and throw things and scream at me. That's not the disturbing thing, she would forget about it, hit reset and act like it didn't happen the next day. Over and over. I started filming her episodes to prove to myself I wasn't going crazy. I had a boss who acted like I could do no wrong. She praised me and thought I was the best. Then one day like a switch she turned on me. She acted like I was the spawn of Satan. I don't know how I didn't lose my job. Somehow I weaseled my way out of that mess. Then I noticed she does the same thing with all her new men employees. I don't take well to obsessive praise anymore after her. I had a girlfriend in high school, total white trash basket case. I was an idiot, thought I was in love. Went away to college 500 miles away, tried to make the long distance thing work. 2 weeks in, met a third-year chem engineer student, brilliant and crazy hot. Did the right thing, called the girlfriend to break it off. She was a crying mess, tried to be compassionate, remain firm. At the end she threw out this weird "I still love you" and I, stupidly, said it back thinking it would console her but be non-committal. Still not sure how I thought that was doable. Her best friend was dating my best friend. My buddy called me like an hour later. "Dude, your nut job girlfriend just showed up carving her arms up screaming 'He loves me, he loves me.'" She had to be hospitalized for a few weeks. It was bad. Shouldn't feel bad about it but I did for a long time. She asks what your religion is, and when you give an answer different than hers you hear her mutter, "We could work on that." I had been dating this girl for a few months, we had hooked up, and gone on quite a few dates. Everything was going pretty well, but we both wanted to get a bit more serious. We had that talk and ended up discussing our religions. Which she told me she was actually Mormon and if we wanted to continue dating I'd have to look into thinking about converting. I grew up in a Catholic family and I've personally separated myself from the church and would consider myself atheist. I noped out of that fast. She then proceeded to send me weekly Sunday nudes trying to win me back. I once responded to a flatmate ad, but the criteria was single male 30 years old. Turns out she wasn't looking for a flatmate, she was looking for a husband. I was always clear that she would just be a flatmate to me. Weird things included getting upset when I didn't make her aware of when I was coming home or just came home late. She slept in a pile of laundry but the rest of the house was immaculate. I brought a girl home once, she moved from the lounge to her bedroom beside mine so she could hear what was going on. Things got super weird after that, lots of daytime texting with nonsense questions and flag meetings. Then outright banning my friends. Then an extreme amount of verbal BS. When I moved out she'd just come up to me and yell stuff like, "You're such a loser." Basically I had started seeing another girl and she went over the edge. I always refrained from reacting and just got the hell out. When she thinks my beard or hair is public domain. Drunk girls at bars love to just walk up and grab my beard or run their fingers through my hair. Excuse me, which? I don't care how hot you think you are. Keeping your greasy thought fingers away from my face. If you would like to touch either, say, "Hey, you have a real nice beard or hair, would you mind if I felt it?" And I'd be happy to give you a go. But don't think for 1 second that you're entitled to just start touching me just because you're hot. It's creepy as hell and makes me uncomfortable. Not to mention, who the hell likes random people grabbing their face? If I just walked around drunk grabbing girls' faces or hair, I'd be in jail by the end of the night with a charge. But these girls just run around touching people and think it's okay. Asking for your passwords, phone, email, Facebook, etc. As a sign of trust? Nope. I have nothing to hide. However, when you think you need to have that information, it shows you already don't trust me. And anyone who asks and then says they won't use it, is lying. They may not use it that day, or even soon, but they will use it at some point. Because the same suspicion that led to them asking for it, will lead them to use it.
Congratulations! You've made it to the end. We want to thank you again for giving us a few minutes of your time, and we wish you have a great rest of your day, night, or whenever you're watching this. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to subscribe. It really does help us a lot. That's it from me. Roll the outro.